Is this the best budget and all-around gaming and ultra-portable laptop that you can buy today? Let's find out. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. Finally, we get to talk about my new favorite laptop. And I guess, spoiler alert, I love this laptop. You don't even have to wait till the end of the video to find out that I am actually in love with this laptop. It's awesome. Hey, thanks for watching all the but you want to know how awesome it is. So let's get into this. So this is the Asus ROG Flow X13 laptop. There are a number of variants of this laptop. So this particular laptop has the AMD Ryzen 9 5900HS with integrated Radeon graphics. It also has an NVIDIA RTX 3050 Ti video card with, I believe it's 4 gigabytes of onboard RAM. The installed RAM is 16 gigabytes. It also has a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD storage, which is sort of upgradable, but we'll get into that a little bit later. More on the processor itself. This being an AMD processor, it does tend to have a lot more cores than the Intel variant. You can get this laptop with an Intel core processor. However, my personal recommendation is to stick with the AMD. This particular one has 8 cores and 16 threads. That means that it can munch through any productivity software that you can throw at it. So I use this laptop as a mobile editing laptop. So I use it while I'm out traveling and I still need to edit videos. So this will run Premiere Pro. It will edit 4K content, no problems at all. It'll run Photoshop, and again, it'll handle that just fine. The screen on this is actually a little bit interesting. It's a FHD 120 Hertz supported panel. It also has a 16:10 aspect ratio. And if you don't know, 16:10 is extremely important, especially when you're looking at productivity. Now the gamers probably won't mind 16:9. You can get that widescreen format, but in 16:10, I can actually get that little bit more vertical height. According to the sticker on the front of this, it has 120 more vertical pixels. Those 120 pixels is exactly what I needed for, especially when I'm running Premiere Pro, so that I can fit all of the menus into the window without having to have the taskbar auto hide to be able to see it. It also has regular Wi-Fi AC, which supports the 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz, and Bluetooth is on here. Now this laptop retails up here in Canada still for about $2,000. It is not a cheap laptop, but it does have a lot of features that makes it worth the price. And I'm gonna talk about all of those as we get into this a little bit further, and I'll touch on some of the laptops that I had before this and why I like this one so much. It's a FHD 120 Hertz display. It is 13.4 inches. It's a 1920 by 1200 IPS display. It has 100% of the sRGB color reproduction, and it does 500 nits of brightness. In case you're wondering, that is enough to actually use this outside in the sunlight and still see what you're doing. I've had laptops that have less than that, and it's not a fun experience. This one is bright enough you can use it outside, trust me. There's a number of processor options. This one would be about the mid-tier with the 5900HS. They have come out with a little bit higher one, the 6900HS, which is a little bit better, but in all of the testing that we've seen, they're about the same, and the difference would be not as noticeable. Obviously, as softwares get more and more bloated, they will tend to use more of the processor power, and at that point, you might want to consider the higher end processor. But for right now, the 5900 is fully capable, and it has taken everything that I can throw at it. The video card being the RTX, it is a 35 to 40 watt power restricted GPU, so you can't extract the full power out of it. And part of that's because it's such a restrictive case. It's small and it's very ultra portable. It has 4 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM on board with MUX and adaptive sync. The memory, I told you this has 16 gigabytes of memory. It is soldered on, so this laptop is not upgradable as far as your RAM goes. Whatever you buy is what you get. There's no free slots. It is soldered straight on there. Swapping it or upgrading it would be a very big task, and it would be way easier to just sell the laptop and then get one that has the RAM that you're looking for. This particular model does come in RAM all the way up to 32 gigabytes. However, I haven't had any problems with this one at 16 gigabytes. and I've used it for a lot of video editing already and for gaming, and I have not noticed any problems. So you can save a little bit of money and get the 16 gig, but if you know you need the flagship 32 gigs, what you're looking for, that's the top. Now I did say that it has Bluetooth. It supports Bluetooth 5.2 with a wireless 6E 2x2 module. For ports, it has one USB-C port, one USB-A port, it has an HDMI port, and it has a headphone jack out port. It also has the ROG XG mobile interface. If you're not sure what that is, that's this guy over here. It's covered by this rubber. Let's see if I can get this off. Covered by this little rubber cap, and it exposes this port. Now this is a proprietary port that allows you to plug in a external GPU. That would allow this laptop to become a full-fledged workstation where you could have an extra monitor. It also adds extra ports and a lot of other awesome goodies. Also, for the keen observer, inside this port is also an extra USB-C port, and a lot of guys have been just pulling this rubber cap off and leaving it off so that they can access that USB-C port and use it, because with only the two ports on this side, it's a little bit lacking as far as connectivity options go. It does have a 62 watt-hour battery and a 100 watt USB-C charger, which can plug into either of the ports that are on here, including that secret port that I just showed you. The keyboard does have backlighting. It's white only, and it has 3 settings: high, medium, and low. There is an off setting, and that's it. There's no different colors, there's no RGB, it's just white and it's on or off. The design and construction of it's actually really good. So it's got metal on the outside, it's got metal on the bottom, and then on the inside where the keyboard and everything is plastic. The only drawback to this is, and I don't know if you can see it here, is smudging. So it's prone to smudging and then looking smudged, and I'll kind of wave this around so you can maybe see some of those smudges on there. It doesn't bother me so much, but it will never look clean, that's all. But it's very well built, it feels very solid. The screen, it flexes a little bit, there's no creaks, there's no groans. It's actually a very well put together laptop. It's quite sturdy feeling as well. And then speaking of sturdy, the biggest thing that I like about this, so this is a standard laptop. You can see I can open it or I can close it, I can open it, but I can also fold this screen flat. I can also fold this into tent mode like that. I can put it like this, and I can game like this, or use it on an airplane or whatever, and I can fold the screen completely flat and use it in tablet mode. It has gyro sensors, so it automatically detects when I turn it, so it'll just take a second and it'll switch itself around, and it's very versatile in that respect. And that's one of the reasons that I actually got this laptop. So if you've seen my other video reviews, I showed you that I used to have a Lenovo IdeaPad, which did all of the things that I just showed you on here, but it lacked that video card which I needed to do my productivity work. If you're looking for just a laptop to just browse the internet, check your email, go on Instagram, this laptop is way overkill for you. But if you know that you're gaming, or you know that you're doing productivity type work, then this is a very strong contender of the right laptop for you. The keyboard and trackpad on here, it's actually a standard size keyboard. The buttons, they feel good to type on and to push. I haven't had too many mistyping errors. I don't type properly. I kind of do a modified version of pick and peck, where I just kind of pick the ones that I want. It's very easy to type quickly on this. It's easy to transfer between this keyboard on my main editing workstation and this keyboard, which is nice because I don't like having, kind of weird cramped keyboards. It just makes big problems for me. So this one feels really good. The trackpad is a little bit narrow. It would be nice if it was a little bit taller, especially consider all the space up here. So we've got all of these buttons here that didn't need to be here. This keyboard could have been shifted up a little bit more and made a little bit more space for this trackpad. It's a little bit of an annoyance. I love this laptop, but I really don't notice it that much. So I'm not gonna strike it down and say this sucks because of the trackpad. There's so many good things about it that I will overlook the trackpad. Now the screen, I already talked about it. It is an amazing screen. It's bright enough to use outdoors. You can dim it at a multiple levels so that you can see really well, or you can dim it down and save a lot of battery. It supports 1920 by 1200 pixels, which is, I really like the old days before we had the ultra widescreen format, especially when you're using like Excel or Google Sheets or anything, you end up with so much of the top covered with like the ribbon bar. The actual productivity window is so squished up. So this restores some of that vertical space that you'd be looking for to get that productivity software working. Also, viewing angles are very, very good. I can look at this screen from any angle that I want, and I can see everything that I'm looking for on screen, and it works really, really great for that. And the color is even across the whole screen, which is also nice. Looking at the inside of the laptop, you're gonna see that RAM that is non-upgradable. You're gonna see that the memory slot, it's a Gen 4 NVMe SSD, but it only supports a 2230 drive, which is quite small. And you know, it's understandable. However, this laptop comes with 1 terabyte of storage. You're gonna have a hard time finding anything bigger than 1 terabyte in that 2230 size. So you might be capped out there, you know, as technology progresses, maybe we'll see a 2 gigabyte upgrade, but for now, really 1 terabyte's all you've got. There's no other slots there to add extra storage. So what you get is what you get, unless you're looking at an external USB drive or something like that. But you can also see the Wi-Fi card on there. You can see the battery. The speakers are well placed. The fans are really, they've done the best they can to fit it into the small package. So let's talk about performance and benchmarks. The first thing to note when we're trying to extract performance out of this laptop is to pay attention to where their cooling fans are. There's 3 cooling fans right here. And what you'll notice is as I open the screen, those vents that we just saw are blowing straight into that screen. So we don't get a lot of airflow out of these vents. There's also a side vent right here which blows very, very hot, and the intake for the fans are on the bottom here, one here and one here, but the legs that hold this off the table are very low profile, so there's not a lot of room for airflow to get in. So what a lot of people have been forced to do is actually prop up the laptop more like this to allow the airflow to get in. Now, if you are willing to prop it up, this thing will perform quite well. So let's talk about the performance on this thing for productivity-based software. Now, because this has a built-in dedicated GPU and it has an external GPU that's built in. So it's got the 3050 Ti or just the regular budget onboard GPU. I don't want to talk about the discrete graphics because really nobody's going to be using those for productivity software anyway. So for example, in Blender, the BMW car scene will complete in about 46 seconds. The classroom scene will complete in about 1 minute and 35 seconds. When you're looking at Puget Bench, Adobe Premiere is 544, Photoshop is 920, After Effects 705. I'm reading the list backwards, bottom to top. For gaming, you know, it's tough to say. This is running a 3050. Now the 3050 is not the top end GPU for a gaming computer, so keep that in mind. It's on the low end of the current generation of GPUs, so it's not gonna like wow anybody. But keep in mind the form factor and the portability when we're talking about these numbers. So all of these games are running on ultra settings, and we're looking at like Far Cry 5, 61 frames per second. Red Dead Redemption 2, 45 to 46 frames per second. We're looking at Shadow of the Tomb Raider, 29 to 30 frames per second. That is with TAA and RTX Ultra. If we just put it on highest preset and TAA, then we get up into 55 to 58 frames per second. Now, all of these are close to at least 60 frames per second. That is quite impressive for such a small package. If we're willing to drop our graphics settings down to about medium, which is for all like current gen games, you're gonna still come into the 60 to 75 frames per second, which is absolutely playable. I've personally used this on Warzone. That's all I really play when I'm playing remotely anyway. And I'm pulling off somewhere around 70 frames per second. Sometimes I'll dip down to like 40 or 50, but it'll hold 70 quite steadily and quite well. It's absolutely playable. And if you, again, prop the back end up, you'll get a lot better frame rates as you manage that heat a little bit better. Now I want to talk about battery life. The battery in here is actually pretty small because the form factor is small, but I was the most disappointed with the battery life. I was getting about 1.5 hours of battery life out of this thing, and that was just with regular internet browsing. I wasn't doing anything super high-end graphics-wise. But I found out a little secret that will get me closer to 10 hours of battery life, and that is is simply to put it into battery saver mode. You can go into the Armory Crate software and you can adjust the profiles and turn this up and turn that down and adjust all of this and that and whatever to try and like fine tune your experience and, you know, give up what you're willing to give up to get extra battery life. But I find for me, if I'm just doing like regular web browsing or even just light Photoshop, if you put it in battery saver mode, it'll just drop all those settings down. It'll actually dim your screen brightness, but I just turn it back up a couple notches and it gets me closer to 10 hours of battery life. It makes it super ultra portable and works perfectly. As soon as it's time to go in game or time to do Premiere Pro or something that's going to be more graphic intensive, you just put it into ultra mode, plug it in and go. You can get about an hour of battery powered editing time if you must do it on the battery, but I prefer to just plug it in once I do that. Usually you're going to be at a desk and be using a mouse anyway, so you're not thinking about mobility. So that's how I manage that, and that will actually make this quite manageable. I was actually, when I found out the battery was only lasting about an hour, I almost returned this. I was like, ooh, oh crap, everything's so great, but the battery sucks. So I'm glad that I found that hack. It works great, and you should try it too if you're getting this laptop, because it will make a world of difference for you and your experience using the laptop. So now that we've talked about the whole thing, it's time to give it a user score. I'm gonna give it a score out of 10, and this one, I mean, for me, it's like a 9. I gotta say, it's really good. The only reason it's not a 10 is because I would have liked a little bit better graphics card. Not because I need it, but just because I want it. So, you know, if I could pack a 3070 in here, I'd be happy. Even a 3060. The 3050 seems a little bit on the low end side, and I think that hurts a little bit. But let's talk about some of the good points. So it looks good, it's well built and is super portable. Good typing experience. The screen is amazing. Excellent performance for daily use. Absolutely excellent. For just daily use, you can't beat this, but it also has the ability to handle more intensive tasks as well. It's all built in here. The audio quality, actually, we didn't really talk about this, but the speakers on this sound amazing. I've had 3 laptops in about 3 months, and these ones sound the best. It's really good and clear. I'm usually using headphones for editing, so I can't speak to that, but if you're just watching videos with this, it sounds really good. Once you figure out the battery hack, the runtimes are very, very good. Now the downsides, the bad. So the black design makes the smudges appear very, very easily, and it's hard to keep that clean. The slim bottom feet, they choke the fan. So, you know, if they just made them a little bit taller, it'd be so much better. Or, you know, as the lid extends, it should lift it off the table or something. They should have come up with some way to get that bottom lifted up. The fans are very, very loud once it's in full performance mode, and especially I think because they're choked off. And it's a little bit annoying that this right here is blowing the hot air straight onto the screen when it's open. But those, I mean, all of those are such little nitpicky points. Like, really, are those gonna change the performance of the laptop? No way. So do not hesitate to buy this. I will put a link in the description to this laptop if you wanna purchase one yourself. It's really, really as great as I say it is, and it's gonna be a while before I even look at replacing this. I'm hoping to get a few years out of this thing. As with all my videos though, leave a comment in the description down below. Tell me what you think. Ask your questions. Maybe do you have this laptop already? Tell us what you think about your laptop. Do you agree with what I've been saying? Let's hear about it. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.